Hello, hello. I want to welcome everyone to another YouTube Live here at Simply Simple Stamping. Hey, I have got a really fun card for you guys today. We're going to do a little origami action. I'm telling you, I kind of think back to when I was a kid. Remember when you went to the book fair and you went to the Scholastic book fair? I got a book on origami and I went nuts. I loved to create with origami. So we're going to do a little flashback to our childhood, maybe, for some of you who might remember. Maybe you even had that book. And we're going to do this simple little fun kind of a peekaboo card. Now, I had you cut and prepare some pieces in advance, and hopefully everyone saw that because I'm actually having you start with copy paper. Yeah, we're going to do a little practicing first. I mean, practice makes perfect, right? So we're going to do some practicing with some copy paper first, and guess what? That little practice copy paper is actually going to then be a great template for you to use later on. So if you haven't done it, you get a second here, run and cut yourself some copy paper, 5x5. And a 3x3 because I have 2 origami folds I want to teach you today, all right? So I hope that you guys can create along with me now. If you are on live with me right now, it is 11 o'clock a.m. Central Time. So if you're on live with me, well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And if you're watching the replay, I'm thrilled that you're joining in on the replay. And that'll give you the opportunity. If you're not live, you can pause. You can take a quick pause, go cut that copy paper so that you can create right along with me. All right. Hey, a huge shout out to the most fabulous moderator in the whole wide room, Brenda Paulson. Thank you, Brenda, for being here. I'm in Oklahoma. Brenda's in Idaho. Isn't it great how technology can bring us all together? So she's going to be here. She'll be able to answer your questions, get links and things to you. If you missed a measurement, she's got all those for you. So be sure to ask your questions in the chat room, in that fabulous chat box. Now, if you can't get to the chat box, make sure you get logged into your YouTube account because that'll allow you to do that. And we love to chat, right? Okay. Hopefully we've got everyone kind of getting on to the live so that we can get started. So I'm going to flip my camera around over here. I always like to tell you, if you get motion sickness, look away for just a second. I'll tell you when you can come back. And I'm going to move my camera over to my stamping table. So here we go, my friends. We are just going to do a little flipperoo, and you get a lovely shot of my ceiling and my lights. Okay, it wanted to do something weird. Let's move that for a second. There we go. You know, sometimes I feel like with YouTube, it always changes. No matter what I think they're going to tell me to do, size-wise, it always changes. Okay, well, first things first, let me show you what we're going to create today. Can you see this fun little origami fold I have going here? This fun little peekaboo. It's got really great dimension. And here's what's fun. I created this card, this piece, and then let me show you the inside. We're going to use the leftover piece from a 6x6 and use that on the inside of our card. Now, I also gave you the dimensions and everything that you needed to create the card. So if you want to create the card with me, I want to encourage you to stick around and watch how to make the card as well. And I just untied my bow. Of course, when you're live, that's when you do silly things like that, right? Okay, we'll just stick that right back down. No one will have to know. But we're going to focus first right here on how to do the origami fold. So I had you cut some copy paper, 5x5. Now, like I said, when we go to make our card, we're actually going to use a 6x6. But we're going to start with this 5x5. And if you've ever done origami, so many of these folds are going to be super familiar to you. So we're going to fold it in half one direction. We'll open it up, and then we're going to fold it the other direction. Just, you want to always make sure you're lining up all your points, okay? So make sure you're lining up your corners. So we've just done a simple little equal squares, right? That's simple enough. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this into 4, right? You guys are going to love this. And we're going to take the point right there in the middle, and we're going to take the teeniest, tiniest, I mean, like just snip I mean, you barely even know it's there. We want a little snip there on the corner because that's going to give us a hole in the middle. It makes it very easy to see the center of our origami here. Now, the other thing we're going to do is use this as a template later on. And the reason we want that hole is we want to be able to come in with a pen and mark that. So that's why we created that little hole, if you're wondering. Here we go with some more origami folding. We're going to bring our corners to that hole. And you see, it's just going to line up each corner. And I always recommend, especially I've learned on this project, don't try to go here to here like an envelope. Let's go around in a circle. So get that lined up. And we're just going to go around. Now, remember at the beginning of the video, I said we wanted to practice first because before we use our good paper, let's use some copy paper and get the hang of this, right? So when you're folding, if you ever get to a point that these corners aren't lining up the way you want them to, go ahead and make sure those are correct. I'm more interested in these outside corners being correct than I am that everything lines up in the center. Because when we do the rest of this fold, you're not even going to see it. So we're going to just line those up, make sure those are lining up perfect. That's the hardest part right there. Look at that. That was easy. That was like basic origami. Okay, for this next part, I'm actually going to bring in some grid paper, and I apologize because I did not tell you to do this. That was my bad. I'm going to center up my square here. Can you see? I just centered it up on my grid paper. I'm only going to need to do this once. And what I want to do is I'm going to line that up, and I'm going to take this point right here, and I'm going to line it up with that score line. That ensures that that one is good to go. And guess what? That's the only time you really want that grid paper. We don't want this going off to the right or to the left. We want to make sure that first one is good and centered. Now we're going to just work our way around. And the reason we don't need that grid paper again is because I can see right here, and oh goodness, I hope my lights aren't too bright. I know sometimes lighting can be so fickle depending on the day, but do you see how those little points are coming right together? You know what, I am going to take that down just a little bit. There we go. There we go. So we just want these points here on the side. We want those to line up. That's kind of the most important. That's why I said having these line up straight was so important. But if it didn't line up in the center, it's okay because we're folding it upwards. You won't even see it. And that is our little peekaboo. Oh, I hope you guys were doing that along with me. Very, very simple. Now, when we go to do it on our designer series paper, the only thing you're going to do different is we're not going to do this fold. Remember this one, the first two? We're not going to do those because that's going to leave us some score lines in the middle that we don't want, okay? But we're going to use this now that we have it created. And here's the thing, it's copy paper. If yours just didn't come out quite the way you want, go ahead and try it again. Remember, we want to practice before we bring in our good paper. Okay, now I am going to show you, we're going to do the same thing here with a 3x3. And can you see this one looks a little different? The points are coming off, okay? And I want to go ahead and show you how to do that one with a 3x3. By the way, this could be done with a 4x4 as well. I just wanted to show you how fun it would be to make a little mini one. So 5x5, 6x6, 3x3, 4x4, you get it. We just, as long as we have a perfect square, we can create this. So let's go ahead and make one with our 3x3. I truly love doing these Create With Me segments. I just think it's, especially with everything going on in the world, and we're not able to get together and create together, it's really nice to be able to kind of have YouTube to kind of bring us all together. All right, so there's our 4, right? We have our 4 squares. Do you remember what we're going to do? We're going to fold it up, find that top point, and take just a tiny little snip. We don't need much. There we go. And from here, this part you're real familiar with. Remember, we just, oh, my lighting is so bright that I can't even see my score lines. There we go. And remember, we just follow the pattern all the way around, making sure these points here on the edges are what work. Now, when we go to do this on our designer series paper, and hey, we are going to do that. So if you feel like you missed a step, stick with me. We're going to do it again. All right, so you're not behind at all. So let's line up those points. Remember, it's all about the points on these ends. But look, there's a gap there. But you know what? It's not going to matter. Okay, I'm going to come back in with the grid paper. And this time, I'm going to do it a little bit different. So, centering that up in my grid. And this time, I'm going to bring it up and out. You have so many options. By the way, this little idea that I'm doing here, you could have done it with this one as well. It would have been fine. So this one just kind of gives you just a different look. So we can line it up. Oh yeah, that's right. I said I didn't need to do that anymore once I get the first one. So we can do our next one right there. Remember this little point, as long as it's lining up, we're good. I find origami and paper folding to be so relaxing. And like I said, I always liked it as a kid. And so this has always just been really, really fun for me. All right, and there's my last one. So again, options, 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 just like that. Really fun, right? I hope after watching that, you're feeling very confident. And so now we're going to come in with some designer series paper and we're going to create a card. Before I do, let me go ahead and go over the supplies that you need to create the card. Now, in my original instructions, I had Calypso Coral cut 4 1/4 by 11. But guess what, guys? It doesn't matter. It's a basic card base. So this one is going to be 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. But it doesn't matter as long as our finished size is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I have that. We're going to need a piece of 6 by 6 designer series paper. I am falling in love with the Sweet Symmetry designer series paper. Now it's a 12 by 12. So I cut it down into 6 by 6. So that made it really easy. I could work with one sheet of 6 by 6. We'll do a little cutting on that here in just a minute. And now I have another piece of the Sweet Symmetry. And this is just going to give my card just a little more beauty on the front. So it's not quite so plain. And so this is another piece of that paper, 4 inches by 5 1/4. And we're going to also bring in some Just Jade because this is, by the way, this is 1 inch by 8 1/2 inch. And let me tell you why we're going to use Just Jade. Because we are going to use the In Symmetry bundle, okay? Love this stamp set. I have gone crazy with this stamp set. Do you guys have this one? It's become a favorite of mine. I love all these flowers. I especially love the font. The bundle has this really great Symmetry Stems border punch. And that is going to add so much to my card. So I wanted to use the bundle on this one. And before I digress too far, let me give you the last of your measurements. I have a piece of basic white, 4 by 5 1/4. And look at this little sweet guy, little teeny tiny 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. All right, and I'm going to finish mine off with a linen thread bow because I love linen thread and I love bows. So there you go. All right, let's do a little cutting here on our designer series paper. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer. And guys, what we want to do to start is we're going to cut this down to 5 by 5. Remember what we started with when we practiced? We had a 5 by 5, so there's an inch. I'm going to rotate it around and cut off another inch. All right. Let me see. This one, yeah, this one is too short. to go on the side. So that first one that you cut, the longer one, that's the one we're going to use on the inside. So we want to trim that one down to 5 1/4, because remember our basic white was also 5 1/4. So let's just get little teeny tiny scrap left over there. Okay, now we are going to do that fancy folding. Now you want to decide which pattern you want on the inside, and this will be what the flaps will be. In fact, let me just bring in my original so you can see there's the back. I started like this, okay? And I did all my folding, and then I flipped back, and that's going to give me a really great look. I get to see both sides. So this is the part where you're going to decide what do you want on the inside of your card in your little peekaboo origami here. So this is going to be mine. And do you remember our little template? Yeah, let's bring that in. So I can lay that template right here, get it all lined up, because goodness, we sure don't want to be off, do we? Line it up, then we can take our pen, and if you're worried about using a pen, you can use a pencil too. But there's my mark, but I want you to see on mine, I covered it up. So no one's going to see it, but I will be showing you another card here in a minute where I let this shine through and did a little something with that. But I'm going to tell you, 99% of the time I end up covering it, so it just doesn't matter. And in fact, if we can't see that, we can even make it a little darker. Okay, are you guys ready? Are you going to do it to your designer series paper? Oh my gosh. And we're going to bring that one in right here. Now, you're going to notice designer series paper feels a little thicker. So I'm going to use my bone folder on my designer series paper. And it just kind of helps give those creases a nice crisp edge. Because, you know, if you remember doing origami, that was kind of a key, that we have really nice harsh edges. And remember, we just make sure that our points are lining up. I wish I could see everyone's comments. I'm kind of off at an angle here, but I hope everyone is kind of playing along. And like I said, if you're watching the replay, you can always pause. If you feel like you're starting to get a little behind, just pause. All right, there we go. First part done, okay? Remember, I want to just say again, remember this one we didn't do this fold. That was only on our little template and our practice. All right, I'm going to come back in. Remember the trick, bring in the grid paper, center it up, and you can bring up your first point right there, and then you don't need it anymore. If you feel more confident using the designers or using the grid paper, feel free. It is just fine to do that, and it really doesn't take that long to use that designer series paper. But we just want to make sure we have a good square there in the middle. All right, here we go. And we'll fold another one. And our last one. Now, did you notice how fast that really went together? I mean, it looks uber complicated and oh my gosh, and nope. Very simple. And the other thing I like about this, it has dimension. I mean, look at that. Woohoo! Just looks like a present popping off of there. Now, if you would prefer, you could adhere this down, okay, and just have the center popping. I really like to add that dimension to my card. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it, right? No dimension at all. All right, we're going to put this card together because that part is done. And so let's go ahead and we're going to add that designer series paper right here onto our Calypso Coral card base. And obviously you guys can see, you name the paper, you name the colors, you can do this project. And stick around, I have a couple more cards to show you. All right, let's go ahead and take our origami and we're going to flip it over and let's add adhesive to the back. Add that to our card. Then we're going to do a little stamping. We're going to do a little fun to the center of our card. Okay, let me set this off to the side. And let's see, where did I have lost my little square. I got this one. Hold on, my friends. I have all this copy paper and I can't find anything. Too much white. There it is. Oh my goodness. Okay, there's our little square. So as I said, we're going to use in symmetry. And I thought the "you are perfectly unique" was a great sentiment. Let me show you my ink pads today. They are delish, okay? We have Calypso Coral, Misty Moonlight, and Just Jade. Aren't those fabulous colors? Love, love, love. I'm going to use some Misty Moonlight for my sentiments. And we're going to stamp both of these. Let's go ahead and get all of our stamping done. So first things first, "you are perfectly unique" will go right inside that square. Boy, you just think this card was made for this stamp set because look how perfect that fits inside the square. We love that. All right, now I'm going to go ahead. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Remember I told you there were two. This is the one. We want to add this here to the side of our card. And we're going to actually add this all the way over so it's touching the end of that basic white. This would also make a great Christmas card. If you guys will stick with me to the end, I'm going to show you a Christmas card too. And hey, another reason to stick with me, I'm also going to show you the Create With Me cards that we're going to make next month. So this is going to be a thank you card. And so now I will bring in some Just Jade. And we're going to stamp ourselves a little flower here. All the stamps I'm using are all from the In Symmetry stamp set. So we'll stamp our stem there. Let's add a couple leaves. Many of you have asked, "Connie, can you give us more inside ideas?" So I was excited to have this one ready for you so we could show some inside. We're going to take that Calypso Coral. And let me show you, I decided to bring in the Calypso Coral that matched that flower. So we're going to take and stamp ourselves a little Calypso Coral flower. I love this stamp set in photopolymer because look at that. You can line it up perfect. It's awesome. I love it. All right, while I'm here, we're going to go ahead and add this to the inside of our card. Because we have all this pretty going on. Look at what happens when I add this to the inside. That misty moonlight, all that color just jumps out at you. All right, now let's, excuse me, let's do a little fun here to the inside. Remember we had that strip of the Just Jade. Let's use that fabulous punch that comes in this bundle. Hey, do you guys need some tips on how to use these border punches? I've got a tip for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up right, I hope that you can see, there's an edge to that punch right on that edge. Let's line it up. There's a little buffer, a little block that kind of makes sure that we push that straight down, okay? So you want to make sure it's flat up against this little block, all right? Let's give it a punch. All right, and you love it because you automatically get two. We love that. Now, if you were using this like a border, you wanted to give it a border, do you see these images here and here? Those are your guides. So watch what happens when I put my punch back in here. I can line up that image. Can you see? It just lines right up in the punch. And that way, make sure it's down flat. Okay, let's make sure we have that straight again. And it's down. And I'm going to get a perfectly punched border all the way down. If you're a scrapbooker, you're going to love to be able to do that for scrapbooking. And if you would like that for just on the edge of a card, it's absolutely gorgeous. Of course, for me and my project today, I had you just cut a strip. And not that we couldn't use that, right? You guys know us. We could find a use for just about everything. But we're going to use these 6 little punches, and we're going to add them here to the back of our You Are Perfectly Unique. Now, I'm going to put my leaves up here in the upper left and the bottom right. So I'm going to put some adhesive here for the upper left. And I mean, this just couldn't be any more easy. We're just going to add some leaves. Whoops, come here. Add some of those. Oh, I'm sticking to it. Do you guys love Stamp and Seal? That is like the strongest adhesive on the planet. I'm telling you what. Now, if you don't have enough adhesive to hold this on, don't go crazy, because we're going to come back and use Stampin' Dimensionals. So we'll be able to kind of heavily secure that here in a second. Okay, a little more adhesive at the bottom right, and we're going to do that again. So I'll add one on the corner, one here off to the side, and there we go. Isn't that going to be great? And that's going to sit right inside here. But like I said, we're going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals. And let me grab, oh, those are minis. I need my biggies. Hang on. We need the big ones, because we're going to take those and look at that. We're going to just secure those down because we don't want them falling off. And I think we should be good. I'm going to go ahead and put Stampin' Dimensionals here on the ends too, where I don't have leaves. And here we go. Remove those backings. And, oh, everything's so sticky. But that's a good thing. When it's sticky, it's not falling off. And you can just flatten your origami peekaboo here. Lay it, oops, I'm a little crooked. See, always when you're live, well, look at that. I actually let that fall off when I pulled it off. But guess what? It's all going to be fine because we have Stampin' Dimensionals. There we go. Now, these you're going to want to give a little fluff. And yes, if you guys are wondering, you absolutely can mail this card. Not a problem at all. But we can kind of lift those up so they kind of come up and out of our folds like that. I think it looks so pretty. And then remember, we had that linen bow. I'm going to go ahead and put this on with a mini glue dot. And I got a trick for you for that too. We're going to take this mini glue dot and we're going to roll it into a teeny tiny ball. And I have to do that because this is such a thin bow. A full glue dot would kind of make a mess. Can you see? I've just got that little dot. And I went with kind of an oversized bow for mine today. We're just going to put that right down there in the corner. There we go. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. Do you love that? Oh, I love it, love it, love it. This, I need to warn you, creating these gets addicting because I couldn't stop. Let me show you another one I did. I did a Christmas one. And this one I thought turned out really nice. There's the inside. Remember the extra strip. I believe that's Painted Christmas Designer Series paper, but I want to show you what I did here. And by the way, these measurements are all at Simply Simple Stamping. Let me open this up. Look what I did here. Yeah, I used some cardstock. I put a little more square cardstock on the inside because I wanted that to pop. I wanted more of that red versus more of that Designer Series paper. And then I did my same little square. I used another little layer there with some shaded spruce. But oh, isn't that, it's mantle worthy, right? So totally mantle worthy. That's the one they're going to want to set up and showcase this holiday season. So fabulous card there. I've got one more to share with you. And this one it's an old favorite, right? Daisy Lane with the matching daisy punch. We love it. You can see I stamped Smile, and I just started and kind of just kept going and just went at an angle, and I stamped that. That is on Melon Mambo, and I stamped Smile everywhere. That is a piece of Pacific Point Designer Series paper from the Brights collection. And remember, those are already 6 by 6. And let's see, I can't open it up all the way. And you see that one, I just put a full-size piece, probably about 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, if I recall, to create that one. And then added a daisy punch, the medium daisy punch right there. Just stamp Smile. Let's see what we have on the inside. The best moments in my life happen with you. There's that extra piece of Designer Series paper. So you have a lot of options, a lot of fun options. You can put designer series paper on the back. You can stamp like I did here. I just stamped a nice background on my cardstock. You can add embellishments. Remember, you can adhere it down. In fact, this one I originally did adhere down. So let me show you because I wanted you to see what it looks like if you adhere it down. We still have that poppage, but it just makes it look a little bit different than when we have that. Can you see? So you do have some options there. And as I just told you earlier, they can easily be mailed. This will go flat. It's going to fit into a medium-sized envelope. And then when you pull that out, when the recipient pulls it out, it should pop right back, or they could just give that a nice little fluff. All right. I hope that you guys enjoyed those. I promised you a sneak peek of my next live Create With Me. So if you'll give me just a minute, we're going to do a little flipperoo here, come back over, and I'm going to share with you some cards. Are you ready? I'm so excited. We're going to do a one-sheet wonder. You guys love one-sheet wonders, and I love them too. This one, we're going to create 4 cards, and they have been created with a 6x6 piece of designer series paper. Now, what you're going to love about these cards is we have options. You could create the cards and give them away, mail them to friends, or you could create them, leave the sentiments off, and then you have some great options to stamp sentiments when you need them. How many of us have that emergency card situation? Yes, we do. Or you could create, this is a set of 4, you could create a set of 8 just using 2 pieces of designer series paper and have a fabulous gift. And we love that. Now we're going to be doing this video on December 16th. I had to think. I think today's the 18th, Brenda. Is that right? Yes. This will be December 16th, 11 a.m. Central Time. And I'd love to have you guys join me for this really fun one-sheet wonder. And oh my gosh, there's that sweet symmetry again. I'm telling ya, it's a great stamp set. I love it so much. Maybe it's just those big, bold flowers, and maybe I'm just already done with the cold weather and ready to move on. So be sure to mark your calendars and plan on joining me on December 16th. I would love to have you here. I'll give you a supply list so you can have everything ready. You're going to use your favorite designer series paper. You're going to use your favorite stamp set. When you kind of look at the cards, that's going to help you to know, oh, I think I'm going to use this, or, oh, I need some thank you cards for January after the holidays. Then you know exactly what you need, and you can pick some of your favorite designer series paper to do that. All right. Hey, thank you guys so much for being a part. I hope you were able to create along with me, and just create that little template, and you're going to have so much fun creating this project. Like I said, it's addicting. Guys, I hope those of my friends here in the United States have a very happy Thanksgiving next week. Oh, Connie needs coffee. What's new? Yeah, next week here in the United States is Thanksgiving. I hope you and your family and your friends who are able to gather will just truly look at this past year and see all the blessings that are around us. We have lots. We have a lot to be thankful for. I, for one, am very thankful for you. Thank you guys so much for being a part of my YouTube channel, for coming and stamping along with me. I got to tell you, these YouTube lives are just the highlight of my month, because I love being able to connect with you on a little different level. I know I'm a little bit more chatty this way, and it's a little bit slower for those of you that like my super quick videos, but I hope that you do enjoy coming and being a part of the live. So thank you all so much. Brenda, thank you for being a fabulous moderator as always. I love you, girl. All right, my friends, make it a fabulous day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.